It's so dumb.
It's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb.
With the discourse carrying on regarding Tu Jhoothi Main Makkaar and mostly polarizing reactions across the internet, I thought before I get into the spoiler-filled talk regarding several themes of the movie, I could tell you the atmosphere in which I saw this film. Usually press shows are this loud echo chamber of opinions where everyone strokes their ego to agree with one another. The atmosphere is such in the theatre that they start sighing and reacting in such a way to every beat of the film that one starts believing, if they don't think otherwise, that his or her assessment of the film may just be wrong. Conversations are flung around while in the theatre before the movie has started, already crapping on the individuals associated with the film, making one believe, at least me, how many have landed up in the theatre with a preconceived notion of how they feel versus actually acknowledging what the movie set out to achieve and being in the moment. Irrespective, this is one of the main reasons I try to stay away from press shows, but the need of the hour due to Holi called for it, and I saw this commercial rom-com directed by Love Ranjan, and there's a lot to pack in regarding the movie, so let's get into discussing in finer detail what worked and did not work, and you also do chime in on the same. Before I also get into the nitty-gritties, I also have to tell you that a lot of my content beyond YouTube and my Instagram stories are also being published on the Nokio app, a community where you can see my reviews in written form and on video, where we can build a community recommending each other's films across languages, so do check it out. I'll put the link in the app and my profile in the description box below. So let's get to the video. The film first presents how Mickey and Dabas as a side hustle help individuals break up with their respective partners. The opening sequence works really well for getting the ball rolling, and while the breakup is successful, I thought the introduction shot of Ranbir Kapoor was the quintessential urban Bollywood hero entry that was packaged perfectly, as the theme song that played in the trailer of the film commences and immediately transitions to Pyar Hota Kai Baar Hai, which has matured like fine wine, I must say. The transition from the film's storyline and drama to the songs is almost seamless, and it's after a long time the music has engaged viewers and made them tap their feet and look in awe of the choreography, as it represents the old school format of commercial Bollywood movies that we initially fell in love with. The moment, however, Mickey's family is introduced in the opening shot showcases Dimple Kapadia shouting at the top of her lungs, I could not help but squint my eyes and cover my ears at the sheer decibel level at which these dialogues were being delivered. The case of an expressive Punjabi Khandan that is slap happy and is introduced with such overwhelming energy that I felt as if Dimple Kapadia's vocal cords must be struggling because there was so much of a projection of forced mom energy. It may be tough for some to believe that privileged brats who, while running multiple businesses, still have a breakup service on the side, but it's essentially the free time most lalas have in the Delhi NCR region, so I don't understand why people are thinking it's unbelievable. Their gedi is essentially this side hustle. The movie struggles to hit any punchlines and zingers in its initial running minutes. Somehow the writing of Love Ranjan and Rahul Modi just don't pack the inventive punch required for these situations. Like the funeral sequences of Dabas breaking down because he believes his partner loves him too much and he would never be able to give the same energy back. It just doesn't generate that laugh out loud moment. The situation reminded me of Wedding Crashers, where Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson think that picking up girls at the funeral is the best opportunity because they are the most emotionally vulnerable at that point. Only in this case, hooking up is exchanged with breaking their heart. The brief laughs come when Dabas, Mickey and their niece have a brief meeting as the little kid makes herself an appy fizz peg and inquires about her share in the family business, asking, "To kab mar rahe ho tum sab?" I wonder where the child actor Inayat Verma gets her confidence, but I guess some kids are just born naturals. I think if there is a mass entry in Tu Jhoothi Main Makkaar, it has to be the unreleased song Maine Pee Rakhi Hai, which is an absolute banger. It's crazy on just the sheer energy Shraddha and Ranbir exude in the song, and I can't wait for a lot of you to see the choreography because it is a certified post-release banger. It's probably the best choreographed number from the movie. The struggle to connect with the dialogues, however, continues in the first half, where the flirtatious dialogues is a lot of absurd analogies like "Abhi to mohalle mein pahuncha hoon, taadunga, phir permission bhi mang lunga," or while falling in love with her as she hogs on a croissant saying, "Abhi to mera chipakne ka man kar raha hai." Then I started to wonder regarding the question that was posed. Why are they talking to each other like this? Do people really talk like this in hyperbole and analogies constantly? then I thought it clearly represents the front that you present to your summer fling. It is anything but the real you. I sometimes equate it to the fun banter of the Corsica portions in Tamasha. It's all filmy, on the surface, kind of pretense before the reality sets in, exaggerated intentionally so that one does not even get a glimpse of their real self, at least momentarily. I still can't defend the comedic punchlines that don't land and the incessant motor mouth rambling that is intended to be funny, because let's be honest, they just don't land. But the exaggerated and performative pitch at which both the characters speak to each other in the infatuation stage, in my opinion, is intentional. I don't think anyone will deny that both the leads look absolutely exceptional in each frame. I wondered whether the film's aesthetic would look too plastered with just the perfect looking characters, but it's easy on the eye and both the actors bounce off of each other's energy really well. Had they been handed over better dialogues during the infatuation stage, I think it would have elevated the quality of the film even more. Because Ranbir ranting constantly, making Basi say "Koi se chup karwao" was all of us in the theatre. I have to give credit, however, to the meta jokes that are sprinkled in the film's screenplay. Ranbir calling himself Ek Tarfa Pyar ka brand ambassador made me chuckle a little too loudly. The moment also Shraddha asks Ranbir as he proposes "Bhagega to nahi tu" reminded me of the conversation between Kat and Ethan in Euphoria, that if there is bound to be someone whose heart is broken in this equation, he's going to make sure it's him. The moment the movie really shines is post Tere Pyar Mein, as Mickey introduces Tinny to his family. Mickey being scolded by his sister and mother, assuming that he has made Tinny wear a kurta in the first meeting, is hilarious. I could imagine my family having the same conversations with me, reprimanding me if I ever told a girl to conform. The case of the family stalking the soon-to-be Bahu on the internet is every family's reality, hopeful that this may be the one for their son. The awkwardness that follows in knowing that Tinny hasn't told her parents, the embarrassment of Dimple Kapadia who rejects the chap and wants a drink to get over that moment, and Tinny being interrogated by her family about Mickey, his qualifications and his ability to provide are all moments that seemed organic and so many people's reality before taking the plunge. People already assume that this being a Love Ranjan movie, there is bound to be sexism where the woman will be either the manipulative vamp or the compromising damsel in distress who leaves her independence at the cost of the man. The preconceived notion for a film and its creators, especially on their personal lives, is what kills movie discussions, because the discourse is not about the movie and its storyline, but the director's filmography and the actor's personal life. This is one of the most frustrating aspects of Bollywood movie discourse in this day and age. This movie is far from the tropes that one assumes will be associated with the Love Ranjan project, and the crazy part is that most of the deep and nuanced portions of the film are barely being discussed in the mainstream. Is it because they don't want to give credit where credit is due, or they want to be stuck in their ways and be ignorant of the same? So let's do our bit of exploring with the same. You see glimpses of Shraddha Kapoor feel claustrophobic of the sheer lack of space that Mickey's family gives to them as a couple, landing up everywhere, barely having alone time together. Knowing that she would never want Mickey to choose between her and his family, she wants an out of the relationship without seeming like she cornered him into making a choice. I was reading a review which said that the movie essentially is two people gaslighting each other until they have the talk, but isn't essentially every situational comedy that? A comedy of errors that follow as one hides an uncomfortable conversation or truth, only for it to get revealed, and in retrospect to think that it was so dumb to keep that secret from someone. The only faulty aspect of Tu Jhoothi Main Makkaar from a plot standpoint beyond the secret being kept is I still can't buy into the fact that Shraddha Kapoor does not recognize Mickey's voice in the phone calls. He gets to know very soon that it's her taking advice to break up with him, and even Basi exclaims, "तू उसकी आवाज नहीं पहचान पाया? कूद जा तू इसी बात पे." Which I feel holds true for Shraddha as well, who catches on far too late in this movie. Ranbir wants to play the game of deception and wit as he feels challenged and his ego seems bruised. And this is where the hilarious cameos follow. Kartik Aaryan had an absolute ball in his brief time, I must say. From the dialogues of "Balo pe kuch mat kehna," referencing his own Lamborghini, Ralia in the case of not knowing that shipping name, an Ashiki 2 song, and Shraddha about to start the iconic "Problem ye hai ki" rant and being stopped in her tracks. The jealousy test was so much fun to see. It also made me think that Ranbir and Kartik Aaryan in the Garam Masala franchise would be a laugh riot. The loyalty test with Nusrat also accounts for a great moment where Ranbir ugly cries and breaks down in front of her, frustrating Shraddha, knowing that Ranbir is 2 steps ahead of her or just a loyal boyfriend. Basi becomes the voice of reason, reminding Mickey, "Maza aana band ho gaya hai na?" And I think the moment Shraddha wants out before the engagement, the uncomfortable conversation that they have are two actors being in fine form. Mickey is intentionally aggressive and rude, calling Tinny dumb, being condescending and disrespectful intentionally so that she breaks up with him. This scene out of context can easily come across as a case of problematic romantic equations, but it's being done to sabotage the relationship. This is where I was scared, worried that love does not transition the story to make Shraddha and her choices the villain, because she is right in her own way to have these choices, and so is Mickey, who doesn't want to compromise with his family. An awkward conversation, show me the thumka, an injury and Mickey's family taking care of her, only for the niece to reveal the truth leads to the real conversation of the movie. And this is where I feel Love Ranjan does not get enough credit, because the argument between the couple is about their moral standpoint and both of them are not being judged for their choices. Shraddha wanting to separate her partner and her family, noticing her own mother and what she had to sacrifice, is not shown from a judgmental lens at all. Neither is Mickey's love for his family and wanting a future where everyone lives happily together. Both love each other and want to be together and embrace one another during that argument with a sense of warmth, but just can't reach midway or on a compromise for what they strongly believe in. A take on modern relationships that is an absolute rarity in the commercial rom-com space. The last 30 minutes post this conversation is heartfelt because it showcases a family that doesn't want to let go of a perfect girl for their son, and more importantly acknowledge that they can mend their ways, because the last thing that they would want their son to do is sacrifice something or someone, the root cause of it being the family itself. I think none of this is being discussed in the mainstream and the movie is being passed off as something generic, but these points are really fresh ideas in a genre that is mostly frivolous and on the surface. Boney Kapoor's deadpan delivery and the car conversations of the family blaming each other for Tinny distancing herself really generated the most laughs in the theatre, and despite several problems of the film's narrative, especially in the first half where the comedic punchlines just don't land, I had fun watching a quintessential Bollywood rom-com that's had more than most films in recent times. One is not ignoring its issues, but one can't absolutely discount its merits as well. And that was the video, guys. Please don't forget to give me your thoughts on Tu Jhoothi Main Makkaar. You can also check out the Nokio app where my written reviews and videos are also available. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.